As a psychotherapist, I'm pretty big on the necessity of getting enough good sleep. And we know that things like anxiety and anger and depression and low mood, sleep, lack of sleep, disrupted sleep is usually a factor in these things. And this completely applies to our sexual function as well. So if you're a guy who's been struggling with sexual difficulties, whether that's premature ejaculation or erectile dysfunction or lack of interest, low libido, we're going to have a look at some of the things you could do to help address these things in terms of your sleep. Now, just as a quick overview of just how essential sleep is, we know first of all that that phase of deep, slow, restorative sleep is essential for things like cell repair, muscle growth, our immune systems, our organ function. And we also know that the majority of testosterone release happens when we're in deep sleep. So not enough sleep or disrupted sleep can lead to low testosterone levels, worth bearing in mind. And secondly, there's an emotional processing benefit from good sleep. In the night, we also go through phases of that more active, dreaming, REM, rapid eye movement sleep. And we know that this plays a role in processing our stresses, our worries, our emotional arousal, all the things that we may have struggled with or have raised our emotion during the day, and particularly those things that we couldn't act upon, those things that frustrated us and we've worried about and taken to bed with us. Dreaming sleep helps to process and filter out some of these stresses. This is the emotional maintenance part of good sleep. Now, we all go through different phases of deep, restorative sleep and dreaming, active REM sleep throughout the night. And ideally, we want to be getting a balance of both. And if we're not on a regular basis, this is the sort of thing that can happen. So problems present themselves in our lives, whether it's our work or money worries or partner, relationship difficulties, sexual problems, and we worry, we get stressed. When we go to sleep, the dreaming system, this processing system, is overloaded. So either we can't sleep because we're too active, we're in fight and flight mode, either we can't sleep or we do sleep, but it's still very, very active, lots of dreaming, trying to process all the worries. And we wake up feeling exhausted. And then we've got to face the day and we're less able to face up to the problems and everything feels worse. And it goes around in a cycle. Worries, accumulation, overloaded sleep. The next day feels even worse. And things can start to spiral. Relationship problems can be a major source of this kind of stress and worry. And if we're struggling with sex in any way, and we've got those feelings of being less of a man or unable to perform or unable to hold on to our partners or satisfy our partner or not being sexually capable, all of those comparisons and things that we might be saying to ourselves overload the stress and the worry system. This impacts our sleep. We feel more exhausted and it goes round and round. It becomes a self-fulfilling circuit. Now, when it comes to experiencing and then worrying about premature ejaculation, some new research out of China adds a new angle to all of this. So in the research, they looked at the relationship between sleep quality and acquired premature ejaculation. By acquired, we mean that secondary type of premature ejaculation where it shows up as a problem in a relationship and then sets in, as opposed to lifelong premature ejaculation where the guy has always experienced it. So in this study, they defined acquired premature ejaculation as finding it difficult to last for more than 3 minutes when it came to intercourse. Now, I'll link to this study in the description below this video, but the main finding is that sleep is one of the major factors in central ejaculation control, and that sleep disorders could be one of the major risk factors in premature ejaculation. The study highlighted the role of serotonin in the regulation and timing of the ejaculation reflex, and I'll link to a video that I have with more detail on that. It also made the connection that guys with sleep difficulties and sleep disorders are more prone to low mood, depression and erectile dysfunction. And we know that they can also be major factors very related to premature ejaculation. The whole thing is quite chicken and egg. Worries about lasting can lead to confidence problems and vice versa. Now, even though this study focused on acquired premature ejaculation, from my experience of working with guys, sleep is pretty much always a factor in premature ejaculation in general. It's probably not the cause. These things are rarely that simple, but it makes matters worse when we're not getting enough sleep. And also when we're tired and stressed and demotivated, it becomes really difficult to get to work on the issue, to talk to our partners, to communicate, to research, to understand, and to start doing the things, to start learning the techniques and the ways to relax and last longer. Avoidance tends to set in and these things become very difficult. So what can guys do about this? Finding ways to reduce worry day to day and not overload that essential dreaming system so it can do its thing quite naturally. And this might be those small practices of meditation or a breathing technique, finding ways of stepping back from our thoughts and worries. Also doing exercise, getting physically active, not too late in the day or too close to bedtime, but exercise is a brilliant way of burning off worries and stress. So essentially it's finding those ways, those things that help us to de-stress, and maybe the things that give us pleasure in life but have fallen by the wayside, that we've stopped doing because we were too tired, too stressed, and we didn't feel like it. All of this can help. Then there's getting our wider needs met, getting good social connections, problem solving, some of the practical stuff, actually stepping back and recognizing some of the things that are constantly adding to our stress but never quite take priority. And it might help to go and speak to a therapist, go and talk to someone neutral to help you recognize some of the tweaks and changes that you could make in your life to lower those stress levels. For sexual problems, premature ejaculation, low confidence, it might also help to go and speak to a therapist or a counsellor about it. Or take a look online. My website has lots of articles and videos about practical steps that you can take. And this is the thing. Doing things, trying things, getting to work on problems takes the emotional sting out of them. It lowers the stress levels. You feel like you're actively engaged with the problem, and that can make all the difference. Now, there's always more we can do around our sleep hygiene to help us get those 7, 8, 9 hours required, maybe for some guys. So things like less screen or tablet, less blue light activity close to bedtime, sort out your sleeping environment, get the dog off the bed, don't eat too late, all those practical things that help. Now, in terms of sleep tips, I've got a few more things on that front. There's a body scan technique, there's a stepping through the day protocol, and I'll talk more about these in another video. But just for now, if you're laying there trying to get to sleep, or you've woken up in the middle of the night and sleep isn't coming, if this is going on for 20 minutes or so, sometimes it's more helpful to actually switch on the light, maybe get up physically, do something fairly quiet, reading or just some small activity. Boredom is our friend at that time of the night, and it might just be enough to distract us from the process and the frustration of really trying too hard to get back to sleep, and it can make all the difference. We can find ourselves tired and sleepy again quite quickly. And finally, in terms of our expectations, you will have bad nights of sleep now and again. You will have exhausted days sometimes. On the sexual front, sometimes sex will be underwhelming, disappointing. Sometimes it'll be downright rubbish. This is the universal experience for everyone. But if these problems, lack of sleep, sexual difficulties, low mood, feeling bad about ourselves, if these things set in and are happening regularly and persistently, it might be a sign that it's time to do something about it on the fronts that I've mentioned. When we start to do the things, we are taking ourselves off the worry circuit. Sleep, energy levels, motivation gets better, and life feels better too. I hope this is helpful. I hope this has had some useful information for you, and thank you again for watching. If you have any questions about premature ejaculation or sexual confidence in general, please feel free to get in touch, and my website is linked in the description below this video. Also remember that I am a therapist sharing my opinions and general advice, but this is no substitute for going to see your own GP or doctor. So if you have any concerns about health or your sexual health, you should go and get a medical checkup and take some advice. Thank you very much for watching.